Hello. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome to episode 209A of Tales with TR, which precedes 209B featuring Brian Scrudland. Gotten to know Screwy a little while over the last few years, at least, probably, actually over the last decade. Doing a lot of these charity events. As you guys know, I was a huge Montreal Canadiens fan growing up. Brian Scrudland played a huge part on the 1986 team that won the Stanley Cup. Of course, more than that, but that was he was a rookie that year. I was 8 or 9 years old, just starting my hockey journey and hockey fandom. And Brian Scrudland scored 9 seconds into overtime in the finals. Still the quickest goal in the history of the NHL playoffs. He scored 9 seconds into overtime to beat Calgary and contribute to the Habs winning the Cup that year. Brian also went to the finals in 1989. He went to the finals with the Florida Panthers in 1996. And he also won the Cup with Dallas in 2001 or 2002, one of those. It was his last year, pretty much, second last year. Anyway, we'll talk about that with him. Screwy's got some awesome stories. And he's if I know anything about that guy, is that he is a prank guy. He's, every time we go to these events, he's getting the best of somebody. And he chirps. He's my kind of guy. He's funny. He's still a pretty good hockey player Screwy must be 60. He must be that. I was, like I said, 8 years old when he was playing on the Canadiens. And I was a big fan. I couldn't feel any younger hanging out with him. The guy really goes to these events that we go to. And, part of the expectation is that you hang out with the fans while he doesn't cheat them. He drinks every beer, eats every wing, and tells every story, man. We often shut the place down. Great guy. Now, listen, before we get any further into this, I got to mention Pedigo Bikes locally. Not in a great way, but So I was on here a few weeks ago and I was promoting them because I thought we had a deal. Now, look, these guys approached me, asked me to do some promo. I agreed for even less than was first approached. It's a local business. I wanted to help a local business. Anyway, they reached out and I was under the impression we had an agreement. And I believe that the guy that asked me, the local dude who runs the store here downtown in St. John's, I believe he bit off more than he could chew. I believe he offered me a deal to ride the bike, and he hadn't passed it by his authorities, if you want to call it that, his higher-ups. I'm guessing he runs the store down there. Maybe I don't want to speculate, but I imagine he has a good relationship with the people at Pedigo Bikes. Obviously, they run the store. And, it's one person. Anyway, I don't even think he did it maliciously, but he reached out. Really, I was really looking forward to it. I love my electric bike, and I lost the battery went in it, and batteries like are $1,000. So he reached out to me, offered me to ride one for, a deal that we worked out, and then reneged on it. So listen, it's fine. I sat here, man. This is the second time recording this podcast. I lost my mind for a half hour on Pedigo Bikes, and I just at the last minute said, fuck that. I don't want to be this negative asshole. It's a local business. It's one guy that I had a deal, you know what I mean, that I had a misunderstanding. And I really don't even think he was being a dickhead. Well, maybe, not a dickhead, but he was being ignorant, but I don't think he meant to be ignorant. Being ignorant, I mean, calling me, offering me this bike. I was pumped. I spread the word. I went on here and did a 15-minute chat about it, which is a free promo at the very least. It's one thing to hear an ad. It's another thing to hear the person giving the ad passionate about the product that he or she's using themselves. And that was, I was really excited. I loved it. I loved the bike that he gave me to ride. Went out on it and it was awesome. But I really couldn't believe when I went to pick up the bike after we spoke. And anyway, he said, we got to do a business proposal, send it to the people at Pedigo, everything. And that wasn't part of our deal. Anyway, it's unfortunate. I don't want to get into it all, the nuts and bolts of a silly little local argument that I had, or debate. Argument's not even the word, because the guy honestly seemed fairly nice. I think I got fucked over, and now I don't have a bike, and now I'm definitely not going to Pedigo to get one. And the other place, E-Bike Universe, it's all right. But anyway, I got my own reasons. I've already bought a bike there, and there's just not great warranties, and I need a great warranty with these kind of things, because now, like I said, I got to buy a battery for the bike that I bought a year ago, and the battery's almost $1,000. Had I fucking known that. Anyway, do your homework when you buy shit. Now, I wish Pedigo Bikes all the best. I do. I thought about it. There's people that are working there. It's probably a great product. I mean, I don't know much about e-bikes. Every one I've been on, I've really loved. So I really don't know, including the one that they gave me to ride briefly here in town. So anyway, you know what? I went the other way with this. The store's on Water Street. You know, I'd be lying if I said I didn't like the bike that they gave me to ride, albeit briefly. And I'd be lying if I said I don't really support local businesses, especially in this time. I find since COVID, and not just because of COVID, we had a rough economy anyway the last few years. A lot of people are having a hard time of it. So anybody that starts their own business and has the balls to go out and do that, I think the dude that I'm talking about here, let's just call him Mike, but he seemed like a nice guy, and I believe he had a history of being a firefighter. You know, family guy, it seemed. So who am I to sit here and fucking rake somebody over the coals? I do think I got fucked over. And if this ever gets back to you, Mike, that's really unfortunate. Really. It really is. You reached out to me. Then all of a sudden, you know, business proposals. That was never any part of any of this. Anybody can do a business proposal, Mike. Anybody. You reached out to me specifically because I have a platform of sorts. And whatever, maybe it didn't go by your supervisors. Maybe you thought about it and you said, you know what? Fuck Shoresy and fuck the Montreal Canadiens or whatever it is. I don't think it's a good enough deal. Fair enough. But don't reach out in the first place, or just be honest. Anyway, that part is a disagreement. And if I let little goddamn disagreements rule the way that I thought, it would be a real ignorant way to look at life. It'd be like tunnel vision. Like, you know, you got to look around that. I had a disagreement with Mike. He didn't seem like a bad guy. And like I said, people work at the store, and it's a decent product, and it's downtown St. John's. So, like, you know what? Fuck it. I wish all the best to Pedigo Bikes. I'm not going to get one, but I really do. And it's local, and it's downtown, and they're taking on the adventure of, I don't know if they own the building, they pay rent. I really don't know. But, you know, to have a business in a store on Water Street these days is a challenge at best. And not just the finances. I mean, the location, the situation with, I guess, the city bylaws when it comes to parking. And, you know, there's all kinds of reasons, pros and cons for any place. But I just know that a lot, you know, like everywhere else, whoever I'm talking, a lot of people I'm talking to right now can identify, if you go to the mall, a lot of those stores aren't there anymore, right? There's just empty space waiting to be rented. Same thing in a lot of downtowns. I've been traveling a fucking lot, and I've noticed that. Cities that I'd been to, even like Sarnia comes to mind. I've been in Sarnia a few times to know Sarnia a little bit over the years. I hadn't been there in about a decade. And downtown, all the stores that used to, you know, be the cornerstone of a vibrant, nice, quaint little town, now aren't there. And it doesn't have to be a small town or medium-sized metropolis we're talking about. I can be talking about Toronto, same shit. Think about go King West, Queen West. There's a lot of those buildings are either or stores that were there for years are either being sold or they're just empty spots, right? Empty rooms on a crowded street. I mean, it seems to be more and more common. Now, the internet's also a reason for that, right? You can shop on the internet, so I'm guessing it doesn't just go for bikes, like Pedego bikes. Pedego, so they say Pedego. It's not just stores like that. It's anything I think that you can order online, anything at all. Just in the convenience of it. Now, I love going out and I love shopping. There are some things I buy online if I have to, but this whole situation we're talking about, I'm always aware of it because I go to so many places and I see these, mom and pop stores shutting down and, people talk about like the way it used to be or whatever. So I really, really try to support that. So I'm not talking to just St. John's here and I'm not talking about just Pedego bikes, but if you get out there, and you're visiting somewhere or you're local or whatever it is, like just get out and shop at some stores, that liven up your city a little bit, right? Spread the word. Some questions. So, listen, a lot of you have asked me about what I think about Caitlin Clark, right? And at first it was Caitlin Clark in the NCAA March Madness, and then it was Caitlin Clark when she got drafted, and then it was Caitlin Clark when she got pushed on the floor and went down and fouled. And then it was all the talk around, every sports show, all of a sudden, WNBA, which had been stagnant for years, all of a sudden everybody's an expert. And then, recently it's about the Olympics. Look, here's what I think of Caitlin Clark. I have a daughter, man. I love that she's not only promoting basketball, but women's sports, and it's given me a reason to watch. Bill Burr does a great stand-up set on WNBA, and I was listening to him. And a lot of comedy. Think of your favorite comedian. It's obvious when it comes to George Carlin. He's only pointing out the obvious, he's only pointing out kind of human. He's pointing out bullshit within the human race and different cultures. So that's obvious. But if you think of most comedians are up there to start or tell a joke, obviously, to make people laugh for the most part. But they often point things out that are worth having a look at. So Bill Burr does a real great stand-up set on the WNBA and how people, have a tradition of not supporting it, even in the cities that the WNBA teams are in. And I felt bad when he said that, and his point was like, for all you people to chirp about it, and whether it's women or men or whatever it would be, or chirp about certain inequalities and social justice, I guess, within the boundaries of social justice. I mean, he's like, well, get out and watch a fucking WNBA game. They started, they're there. You guys are all complaining, and there's 800 people at a fucking 20,000 seat arena. And that spells bad business. So anyway, it goes on and on and on. He's kind of right. And I thought, I don't mind bad. I watched the game last night. Dallas down now 3-0. It's going to be tough. Who am I kidding? They're not beating Boston either way. They probably won't even win a game. But point is, I watch. I want to see the best players. I want to see I have a half-rooted interest. I mean, I played a little bit in grade school, high school, played basketball. I'm into it lightly. So, I'm interested in who wins and who loses. So why not the WNBA? I mean, it's just a set of characters. Once you get to know people, it's almost like the off-floor stuff, like hockey, the off-ice stuff becomes a bit of a like a soap opera. You got to know the characters. And now I'm kind of, when Angel Reese hit that's her name, hit Caitlin Clark, I did a deep dive on her. And, I was like, that bitch, pushing her around. thumping her chest, whatever the fuck she did. And I'm like, you know what, though? Lots of people probably would do that. Connor Bedard got hit this year. He was the big news coming in. And if I'm Angel Reese, I don't know that I'm that blatant about it. I thought the interview after she stumbled a little bit. I'm in the league too, made her look a little bit desperate. But I get it. I get the feud. And yeah, man, I would probably throw my weight around if someone came in, even though she's carrying the sport and really put so many eyes on it. I mean, Angel Reese or fucking Brittany Griner, none of them owe her anything for that. I mean, maybe a thank you, but fuck it. It's my sport too, right? She's a rookie and going through it. I just think everybody's piping in a little bit much on this. But here's my point when you ask me. The reason I don't talk about it a lot is I don't know. And all these people become experts overnight, and I find it really ignorant. I do. Bill Burr can say what he wants. I can say what I want. But there are people that were watching that for the last couple of decades, right? When they come in the 90s. And yeah, fans were a problem. It was hard to get, it just wasn't a topic a lot, even on sports shows that are supposed to support it. You just didn't hear much about the WNBA. So I love what Caitlin Clark's doing for it. I'm starting to get an interest in a lot of the teams. And when you read the backstory, right, about some of the ongoing, I don't want to say feuds, like anything, or rivalries within the sport, right? Oh, I got a technical issue. One sec.
The chase for the Stanley Cup continues, and the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is just as hot as it is on the ice. With same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more, don't miss out as the Stanley Cup playoffs wind down. You can bet the over-under for any game throughout the Stanley Cup final. Or maybe you think your favorite player from the Edmonton Oilers or the Florida Panthers is feeling lucky tonight, and you want to bet on them to be an anytime goal scorer. And there's tons more you can bet on with DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you're new to DraftKings, you gotta check this out. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/ice for eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use code THPN. The Manscaped Performance 5.0 Ultra is everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Inside this package, you'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. So remember, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Sorry about that. See a couple of lawns being mowed outside my window. I had to close the window. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but it was bothering me. Anyway, what was I talking about? I think I was talking about the basketball, right? The WNBA. Well, point was, I don't know much about it, so I don't want to comment And I know a little bit. I'm starting to watch. I went back and watched the finals from a year ago just to know what the fuck I'm talking about. And Aces, Las Vegas and New York Liberty. And that seemed, you read the stories. And then I watched some highlights, and there's a girl, I think her name is Jackie Young, a real good passer, like reminded me of Steve Nash. Remember Nash, how great he could pass that? Like I know there's been lots of great players in the NBA, and especially passers. Last night, Kyrie put on a show. I hate Kyrie Irving. Well, hate's a strong word. I don't like the cut of his jib. I think I don't like him. But anyway, wouldn't want him as a teammate. It's fine when everything's going great. When that guy faces adversity, he blames the flat earth, everything else but him. Takes games off, takes half seasons off. I'm not into Kyrie Irving, but I do think that he's high IQ and he's great to watch. Steve Nash, as a Canadian, right? Oh, of course, Terry likes the white guy, the Canadian guy. Well, he was an inspiration for a lot of Canadians. Not just on the court, off the court. I've got nothing bad to say about Steve Nash. I haven't met the guy, but I know a lot of people that have, and I hear that he's a passionate, good, true blue, salt of the earth guy. So that's why I watched. But this girl, Jackie Young, reminded me of that, like eyes in the back of her head. And then once you watch a few games, there's another girl, Wilson, forget her first name. Anyway, I'm starting to get pulled in, right? And it took Caitlin Clark to do that. And I have a daughter, and as you know, Terry has a daughter. Surprise! Talk about her a lot. So I never grew up watching a lot of women's sports. I think even early on, I was probably ignorant to it. I probably would have said, "Why would you watch women?" When I was growing up, or it just wasn't a thing. We all change, right? And we all become more open-minded as time goes on, especially now, it wasn't Penny Lane that took me to be open-minded. I met a lot of great people along the way. The first time I was intrigued by women's sports, I was going to Kamaikan High School in Tri-Cities, Washington. And there was a lot of great athletes there, and a few of the girls, the guys at first didn't love us. Like, we went to high school and we're playing for the Americans, but Tri-City Americans, name of the team, in Kennewick, Washington. I went to Kamaikan, but, the guys on the football team, especially the football team, would get they would get crowds. They would often outdraw us. They'd get like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Kennewick High, I believe, was the one school in Kamaikan. It was a big rivalry. Great football. Like, think Varsity Blues, Friday Night Lights. It was that, right? It was that. It was living that. So that was most of the Tri-Cities. We're used to that. And then going to the football, basketball games. There's a guy played for San Antonio and a few other teams. Sacramento, sorry. Scotty, oh God. Oh my God, I went to school with him. Scott Pollard. He was at our school, Kamaikan. So, these were the big sports. Hockey was new. When I played for the Americans, it was their 5th year. It's still not new, but it's a novelty in Tri-Cities, right? They didn't all, I guess now, decades on, it's different, but still, it's not a natural. Tri-Cities in the middle of the desert. Seattle's got the mountains. Well, on our side of the mountains, it was desert, rattlesnakes kind of thing, black widow spiders in the house all the time. It was a very much desert-like feel, like Las Vegas feel, even though Canada's only about 5 or 6, maybe 7 hours north. Probably 5 or 6 hours north, but just where it's, think if you've been to Kamloops, that's kind of like a desert. Well, it's more pronounced in Tri-Cities. Anyway, it doesn't, you go there. So it was the 5th year even when we were there. So people were still cheering for offsides and stuff. It was awesome to play there. I loved it. And without that, I found my last year junior, I played in Red Deer. I loved playing in Red Deer. And my first game in Red Deer was on TSN, and I'd never played on TSN because they just didn't give a shit. Most Canadian channels didn't give a shit about Tri-City versus Spokane. And why would they? I agree. You got to get viewership, right? when I was growing up, I wouldn't even have known what Tri-City was. But if the Oshawa Generals were on TV or the Kamloops Blazers, I'd watch. Anyway, just a little history of it. So, we relied, like, we wanted to be friends with the people in the community and everything. So it started with like dating girls and having them come over and watch our games and stuff. And that's when I started going to women's basketball games. It was that far into my life. I was like 18, I guess, 17, 16, 17, 18, somewhere during that time. And then I don't mean going to basketball games. A lot of people still don't, but I mean like that my attitude changed. When I went and started watching, I'm like, these guys do the same thing that we do. And they come out with the ice packs and, their pregame was the same as ours. We would bring them over stuff from the Americans' room, whether it was medical stuff or, a Gatorade bar or whatever the fuck we had in there. And I really, I gained a new appreciation for it. When you meet girls, they're actually involved. And then, going to the odd after that, we took courses in Tri-Cities. It was a campus in Tri-Cities for Washington State University. So we took courses there, and I did go to one men's basketball game. And the actual school was an hour and a half away, but to feel part of it, I went to a couple of women's games. Anyway, the point is, when you get into it, it's like anything. They're talented athletes. They're the best in relative terms. You're watching the best guys play each other. You watch the best girls. It's very intriguing. And so I hadn't watched the WNBA. I didn't give a shit at all about it. But when Bill Burr said that, and my daughter, as she plays soccer, and she does play basketball on the high school team, she takes soccer really, really, really seriously. Like, she wouldn't miss a practice. Basketball is, I think she plays because she's an athlete and she can make the team. She's going to get by, like I was like that. Like, again, right? I remember being okay at basketball, made the team, but when everybody else was going to practice, I'd be like, I'd rather work on my wrist shot. You know what I mean? So, but I can fill in here, guys. And, I was enough of a competitor, same thing with volleyball, that I could hang on the school team, but never put an ounce of practice into anything like that. I would just go and play hockey, or I guess soccer. Soccer and baseball I took serious too. But anyway, so Caitlin Clark is doing all this, but I still don't feel like an authority enough to comment on it. And it's so much to like get red in the face and lose my mind. And people are. And people do. How do I know if she should be on the U.S. team? Stephen A. Smith said it would have been a decent move for marketing purposes. She's not so far out of the mix it would be outrageous, but she is, a rookie coming in. And then I thought about it. Connor Bedard is the biggest rookie to come into hockey in how many years? Since McDavid. And in my lifetime, there's only been a few that have come in that have had that level of expectations. Bedard, I would put Connor McDavid in that mix. I'd put Sidney Crosby in the mix, Eric Lindros, and then, if you want to count my lifetime, being Lemieux and Gretzky. But those are the people, right? So Connor Bedard is the latest version of a generational player that we've seen, and he wouldn't be on. I mean, he just played on Canada's C team at the Worlds and didn't get much ice time. Next year, who knows? I mean, I'd love to see him on there. I would. And every time I think of that team, I think, wow, it's going to be wicked to see Crosby, McDavid, and Bedard. But Bedard won't be guaranteed to be there, right? It's lots of, you'd have to. I don't think, and I think he will be at some point. If he was there, I wouldn't be totally shocked, though, right? And this guy develops so fast that maybe by the time next year rolls around, he'll completely deserve to be there, right? He'll deserve to be in the top 5, maybe. I really don't know. But I do know that if he's a huge prospect like that, and he's coming in and he just wouldn't be a shoo-in on the team, it's kind of probably the same situation that she's in. But again, I don't know. But all I can do is look at the evidence. And when you look, she's like 12th in the league, I think, in scoring. She's up there in 3 points. Right? Like, she's right bubbling right there. Right? But again, they've got the U.S. are going to win, first of all. They've won like 8 in a row. But There are people on the team that are fucking lights out, though. There are, right? And there's a half dozen of them. It's basketball. You don't go with a 50-man roster, 50-woman roster, right? So I'm saying like football or something. So I think the same now as I did when they made the announcement. I would love to see her there from my personal perspective because she's kind of like millions of other people around North America. She's pulled me in. She's got me interested in the WNBA, and I thank her for that, and I respect her, and I look up to her for that. And I will go out of my way to watch the odd game with my daughter and watch a women's professional sport with my daughter. I should only be too happy and lucky that where we are in time that can happen, right? If this is the 1960s, I'm talking to you, probably not going to be a thing. It was a thing, I'm sure, but not a big thing. So because of all that, I'm really happy as an athlete and proud as a father of what Caitlin Clark did, but I can't fucking tell you any more than most of these knobs on TV are getting so mad and yelling at the TV. They can't tell you either. They don't fucking know. They didn't know anybody in the league 3 weeks ago or 3 months ago. So like, that's my thing with it. I wish everybody would take their foot off the gas and be a little less quick to jump on other people and make judgments. Every time Caitlin Clark gets fouled, I don't need to see it on Instagram. Anyway, I wish her the best. I wish Team USA the best. If she's not, the USA are going to win anyway. If she's not there now and she's not, maybe she'll be a spare or something. But, I'm sure she'll be at 3 or 4 Olympics, starting with 4 years from now, right? I'm sure she'll have her chance at WNBA titles. I'm sure at the end of her illustrious career, knock on wood, she doesn't get injured. It's the only thing that can stop her. I'm sure she'll have all kinds of friends and we'll be telling these stories. And the girls that are putting her down now will be watching some 30 for 30 thing in 15 years and they'll be singing her praises. This isn't that rare to rookies coming in, especially ones that are touted as highly as she is. So the more I think about it, I can't comment on whether she should be on a team or anything else. I can't comment on where she stacks up in the league right now. I can't. I can say I've been watching some games and hey, it's a nice pass. It's a nice Las Vegas Aces. Pretty cool. I'll keep watching. Jackie Young. Nice. Good player. I can make comments as I go that form some sort of a light opinion around the structure of my version of or my fandom of this league. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to learn and I look forward to that. The only thing I can give you an opinion on is as an athlete and a former professional athlete, I don't think it's that rare for veterans to give a rookie a hard time. And Caitlin and her teammates are going to have to learn that. And that's it. You face adversity, you get better as a person, as a unit, the way you deal with that. Whatever way. You could deal with it horribly, you're still going to learn from it, right? So that's it. It's a learning process, like anything. And I think she/they will learn, and they have been learning. It's just that now there's more magnifying glass on it. And who am I to fucking tell you whether Caitlin Clark should be on the Olympic team? If I had an opinion, I would find it. Of course, anybody can have an opinion, but to relay it on to you guys like I'm some kind of authority would be absolute bullshit. Because I don't know. What I do know is that she seems great for the sport. I'm glad people are talking about it, and I wish her luck. Now, Brian Scrudlin back. Later today, I'm interviewing Brian Scrudlin. It'll be up soon. I'm really looking forward to it for a lot of reasons. Selke Trophy finalist, All-Star, Stanley Cup winner twice, captain, 15 years. There's a lot of reasons. And of course, he played for the Habs in the 80s too, when I was just forming my hockey opinions, and my fandom for the team, for the sport, for Brian was just beginning. And so it's going to be a dream for me, even though I know Brian, he's a buddy of mine. I've never had him on here. And for you guys to listen to such an accomplished person, athlete, mentor kind of thing, I think you're going to learn something, and it's going to be fun. If you're downtown St. John's, you want to go for a beer, Bull and Barrel, Trinity Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, TJ's, Greensleeves, the Martini Bar, try the Bull and Barrel. Why not? If you want to go for a bite to eat, try the Loose Tie, try Merchant Tavern, try Blue on Water. If you want to, and also Peter Wedgwood Cafe. They also do catering, Elizabeth Avenue, Wedgwood Cafe. Check it out. If you want to change your body, change your mind for the better, you want positive outlook, look no further than Power Conditioning on Rope Walk Lane. Strength and balance for the body and mind. Chris Sparks, Mr. Lube, 2 locations right here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, Torbay Road, Kenmount Road. Live, laugh, lube. Pippo Pain Relief, the pain sticks that just don't quit. Go to pippopainrelief.com, see what all the fuss is about. True Hockey, take what's yours. Folks, I'll be back in just a couple of hours, really, but later in the day with Brian Scrudlin with more tales with TR. Thanks for listening. Love you guys, and catch you on the rebound.